Hello, everybody, and welcome to our studio show guest here. Round 13 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. We're at Loket in the Czech Republic. And my guests this week will be Seil Yakov, Steven Frossard, and Jacky Martens. And as always, I'm joined by Adam Wheeler from OnTrackOffroad.com. But before we get started, though, Adam, more drama in MXGP this weekend. No Tony Cairoli. What do you make of that?
I think it was a big surprise. We'd seen Tony trying to get through the last couple of Grand Prix with that elbow fracture, well, the fractured arm just below the elbow. And yeah, to see him missing a Grand Prix, Paul, I think for the first time, you know, he's had a family bereavement in the last couple of years, which caused him to miss the last round of the season in Italy, and also an injured ankle. But other than that, he hasn't missed two Grand Prix since 2008 when he ruptured his knee ligament. So to not see the 222 out there is a bit of a shock, I think. You know, and it obviously has big repercussions for Roman Febvre leading the World Championship.
And so are we looking at a two-horse race now in MXGP between Roman Febvre and Gauthier Paulin, because the next guy on the list, Max Nagel, 97 points behind, again not here this weekend. His championship is effectively over now, isn't it?
Yeah, from tomorrow, 300 points to win. Yeah. I think that gap is just too big. Paulin has not been spectacular, like we've said on this show before, but he has been reasonably consistent. So I think he's the nearest threat, but he knows he has to start beating Febvre to get some of those points back. And, you know, with the way the track is here in Czech Republic, you know, and how flat and kind of hard-pack it is, the last hard-pack Grand Prix we have this year in Europe, you know, I think we're not going to see a big change at all in the championship this weekend.
And what about Clément de Seil? Obviously, hasn't been off the podium since he won in 2009. Didn't ride here last year, of course. But he's back from injury. What can we expect from him? Is he going to be a bit of a spoiler in terms of taking points away from the Yamaha boys?
It depends on his fitness. I don't think he feels 100%. And he was saying during the week he wants to find a good feeling on the bike. But there's not many riders and circuits on the World Championship calendar that have a record like he has here. I mean, from 6 appearances in the last 6 years, 3 wins, like you say, a podium every time. He didn't race here last year because he had that scaphoid injury and pulled out on Saturday. So I think he's a little bit the dark horse. If he starts well, he'll be up there running. So.
And what about in MX2? Of course, Jeffrey Hurlings returns this weekend. There's 46 points now, his gap over Tim Geiser on the Honda. He's not been on a bike for 5 weeks, has he? 1 moto in 5 weeks since his crash in Germany. Obviously, no time on the bike before Sweden. And then, obviously, the second moto, he crashed in Sweden. So what can we expect from Jeffrey and everybody else in that class?
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, like we said, he's had 1 moto in 5 weeks, but he's also been to the doctors how many times in that period? Yeah. And also with Hurlings, like we saw at the beginning of last season, he had hardly any riding time before he went to Qatar for the first Grand Prix and won. So he set the fastest lap in free practice this morning. Admittedly, while the track it's at its flattest and easiest. So it's a real a guessing game with him. But I think you'll be looking at riders like Jordi Tixier, took his first ever Grand Prix win here last year, and Valentin Guillot, who like this kind of ground, even Jeremy Sewer. I think they'll be real threats for the podium. If Jeffrey gets a podium this weekend, I think that'll be a great result for him.
And at the moment, he just has to stay ahead of Tim Geiser, doesn't he?
Yeah, of course. And Geiser's also struggling with a foot injury from the Grand Prix in Latvia 2 weeks ago. So I think, you know, you have the two kind of guys leading the championship, and there's a real battle going on for the top 3 places. They're struggling. Yeah. So.
And finally, before we catch up with what happened in Latvia a couple of weeks ago, it's the final round of the Women's World Championship this weekend. 2 points separating Livia Lancelot and Chiara Fontanesi. Both riders did well here last year, although Livy did win the overall. Chiara put in a great ride in the first race when she came from the second race when she came from behind to almost steal it. But it's pretty tight. Too close to call. Are you brave enough to call it?
It was a freak scenario last year with 3 riders going for the championship, and now we're lucky enough to have a similar scenario with, you know, that duel between Lancelot and Fontanesi carrying on here. 2 points. It can be lost today. It can't be won. I think Chiara will get it. I think, you know, just her form and her confidence on this hard pack, I think she'll do it. But you know, it might be nice to see a change. Lancelot was the first ever Women's World Champion in 2008, so it'd be a nice kind of bookend.
All right, well, let's get on with the show then. Before we meet our first guest, though, Seil Yakov, let's see what happened in Latvia. Here's some highlights from MX2, Race 2.
Max Anstey charged down into turn 1. hold a tight line through the inside, but it was neck and neck with the 92 of Valentin Guillot as they charged down into turn 2. Anstey grabbing the foxhole shot, but look how tight it was here. Anstey backed off on the entry into turn 2. Guillot ran wide, Anstey was through into the lead. But then Guillot made a mistake. He lost the front end through turn 3 and went down. The Yamaha rider picked himself up at the back, but a few corners later, he was down again. Max Anstey was a clear leader on his Kawasaki. David Puchas was second, his teammate behind him in third, but Puchas got it all wrong towards the end of the lap and remounted in 11th place. Tim Geiser started in 5th, made this pass on Jeremy Seward to get into 4th, and he would advance no further in the race as Julian Lieber fell from 8th. Harry Kulas was having another good ride. He started 3rd and maintained that pace throughout the whole race. Paul Jonas was 2nd behind Anstey, but could do nothing about the Kawasaki rider in race 2, and it was Anstey who charged to the line to take a double moto win ahead of Jonas and Harry Kulas. Geiser was 4th, Jeremy Seward was 5th, but Jonas getting a great reception from the crowd as he got 2nd at his home Grand Prix behind Anstey. Harry Kulas, his first ever podium, 3rd overall in MX2. But Herlings continues to lead, Geiser 2nd, Guillot 3rd. Jonas moves up to 4th after his race today.
Welcome back to our studio show, and our first guest is here, Seil Brylyakov from Honda JTech. Welcome, Seil. First time on the studio show. Now, if you're not aware of who this kid is, he was without a ride last year, riding a privateer bike for a couple of races, and then obviously JTech picked you up from Finland last year. Turned out to be a bit of a crazy year for you in that respect, didn't it? Not knowing if you had a ride or not.
Yeah, actually, the last year was complete different for me. I was starting from nothing, and I got like completely standard bike in the beginning and started in Valkensvaart first race, and then we get some tests with the GTEC and start riding with them, and I was really like happy at this moment. You know, they support me for the rest of the season, and we get good results. We get a good improvements at this time, and yeah, it was really crazy, but that's how it's going in motocross.
And obviously this is your first full season with JTech, so how's it been? Are you happy with the way things have gone? Or are you kind of thinking maybe the beginning of the season should have been a little bit better maybe?
Yeah, it's the first complete season. We make a good preparation in the beginning, and I really put a lot of expectations for this season. You know, I was working a lot on the physical shape, on the bike riding, but the season starts not really well for me with some crashes in the beginning, and was not really confident sometimes on the bike with the riding, but then get better and better. We just fighting through the pack and fighting through these problems, and we get better, and actually we get good riding now, and I'm happy what I'm doing.
We see you quite a lot in the top 10, you know, in MX2. How difficult is it actually to get into that group? Is it harder than it looks, or, you know, is it just dependent on starts? How is it for you?
Yeah, starts make a lot in this year, because we have now like 15 riders, maybe a bit more, fighting so hard. Everybody's so strong, and to get in top 10 with these guys is really difficult, I think. And yeah, I know how tough it is, and just you're fighting every corner, every meter on the track, and just to make one pass. And the tracks are really fast now. Everybody do one line, and there's no place for pass at all. And then you just have to take a risk, and you spend so much power, and that's why so many crashes also, I think.
But France seemed to be a turning point for you, 10th overall. I think your best overall Grand Prix victory in MX2 at that point. 2 solid rides. Were you happy with the way things went then? And did you, after that, did you suddenly think, actually, this is where I belong. I am a top 10 guy?
Yeah, I was actually thinking already in the beginning of the season that I'm a top 10 guy, because the end of the last year I was putting some top 10 places in the motos, but not overall. And we get the first consistent race in France. We get 2 times 11 and we get 10th overall. And I was like, okay, and I know I can do. I was happy again. I was just get my passion again, and we just put better and better with better training and work it more good.
And obviously the best result of your season, Sweden, you were almost on the podium, but the second half of the race, the last few laps, you were bumped down to 4th. But 2 5th-place finishes in the 2 races. What were you feeling at that moment?
Yeah, I was so much happy. I cannot explain what I felt in this moment, but yeah.
This is the second race, by the way.
Yeah.
What's it like running with these guys here? Obviously, Jordi Tixier just ahead of you. You don't normally see him, and maybe in the waiting zone.
Yeah. I was like, I'm there with these guys, and I was like, I can fight with them, I'm same fast, and like second motor, I saw I can catch them, and I was trying, because I know if I do, the podium is in the pocket, but I tried too hard and I crashed on the start corner hardly, and then I was back to the 7th or 6th place, and then we was fighting back, but yeah. I was riding, and I think I was smiling when I was riding because it was so good.
But when you're riding normally and then you ride behind someone like Tixier, do you notice the level in the speed is different? You're trying to stay with them, and can you feel yourself actually thinking, I'm riding maybe 10 or 15 or 20% harder now because I'm with these guys?
Oh, you're just trying, because you have so many difference between the rider speed. Also the qualifying practice, time practice is everything close. And you don't feel if you ride half second faster, but you trying, because you're putting all your best there every lap. Everybody do mistakes, everybody do something, and you don't feel, you're just feeling tired after mistakes what you do, but you don't feel tired or more focused when you do faster, but you're just there, you're fighting.
After that, we went to Latvia, and I know it's close to Russia, so almost like a home Grand Prix. I spoke to you on Saturday, and you said, yeah, many fans are coming here, and you were really looking forward to it. But in qualifying, we have the qualifying clip where it went wrong for you. I think we're going to play it 2 times, because we missed it, first of all. But tell us what happened here, because we're on board here, I think, with Robert Just. You're just around the left. We will isolate it in a moment. But Julian Lieber has gone from one side of the track to the other, and you get hit now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What happened after that?
I was just woke up, I saw my bike, and I was thinking, I have to get it. And I didn't thought that somebody can jump out of the track, because there is my bike. And I just did 1 step to the left, and then I saw another rider. He just, with the full speed, arrived in my body, and I was like, that's painful.
Well, I was stood up on the old finish line and see you picking yourself up and doing this with your shoulder. Is the shoulder okay? Or are you still having problems with it?
Yeah, we still have some problems. We found out yesterday that one more. We have a problem with joint of acromion and collarbone, and some problem with the rib in the back. So muscles damage. But yeah, we was racing in Latvia with the painkillers, and it was not bad, but not really focus on track with the painkillers. But here we make good taping. I work with the doctor of Honda, and so we're trying to get better. But yeah, the shoulder is not on the top level, and here I know how hard it is, and you have to be 100% ready, 100% fit with the body to make a good race, but we try.
All right.
We were saying, sorry Paul, just before the show, that you have another 3 years in MX2. So next year, I mean, you've been learning a lot this season. I guess next year is going to be another building year, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I learned a lot this year because I was first time in overseas like Qatar, Thailand, Argentina. Now I know what it is, how I have to work for it. Now I know how I have to work for the rest of the season, and it was a big experience for me because it's first really complete year for me for MX2, and I think next year it's more easier for me. I'm already used to the riders, used to the tracks, and to that fighting.
All right, well, look, we are out of time, but Seil Yakov, thanks for joining us here, Honda JTech. Right, before we meet our next guest, though, let's see what happened in Latvia in 2 weeks' time in MXGP. It was another rookie that stood on the top step of the podium.
his 8th place finish in race 1. Roman Fevre was looking for a better start. He got it, but once again, it was the 259 Rockstar Energy Suzuki of Glenn Coldenhoff who took the foxhole shot. Cairoli was buried a little bit further back this time. So too was Dean Ferris, but it was Fevre from Coldenhoff through the first few turns. Cairoli ran alongside Sean Simpson as Tommy Searle got it completely wrong through the waves. The Red Bull KTM rider was sent crashing to the deck. Fevre led the charge though. Coldenhoff was second. Bobryshev, Cairoli and Paulin rounding out the top 5 as Frossard and Nathan Watson duked it out. Frossard eventually going through into 10th. Van Hoorbeek made a mistake, fell from 7th and was pushed back to 15th and would have a hard race, finding his way back inside the top 10 to 9th. As Cairoli was in a battle with Paulin and Coldenhoff. Paulin though first had to find his way around his teammate Bobryshev in what was a battle of the Hondas. Eventually this pass put him there into 4th as Rattray went out once more. Cairoli in 3rd was being pushed all the way by Gauthier Paulin. But just like he did in race 1, the Frenchman found his way down the inside of the Italian and moved into 3rd. After Cairoli made this mistake here in what was a very tight battle for 2nd position, the Frenchman then went after Glenn Coldenhoff, who held his nerve and stood his ground to keep the Frenchman at bay and responded to the challenge from the HRC Honda rider. Roman Fevre was cool, calm and collected as he rounded out Moto number 2 with a win from Coldenhoff and Paulin, and it was Coldenhoff who took his first ever Grand Prix victory in MXGP. Paulin was 2nd, Fevre was 3rd, and Fevre extends his lead at the top of the championship table. Cairoli is 2nd, Paulin is now 3rd, but can Glenn Coldenhoff do it again when we go to the Czech Republic for round 13?
Well, that was 2 weeks ago. That was MXGP, and one of the riders who featured there, getting a top 6 finish on his Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team machine, is Steven Frossard. Steven, thanks for joining us here in Loket. Before we talk about the move to Kawasaki, obviously the winter you switched from this team to Wilvo Fort Rent. How was the start of the season for you? How was your winter preparation?
Yeah, it was difficult. I did a good winter, but it was difficult. In the beginning of the season, I did a crash with Simpson in a French race, and I get some problem in my knee. So since maybe 2-3 weeks, I didn't ride just before the Qatar, so it was heavy for me. But race after race was better. And that's it. And
obviously, the start of the season, you're riding a 350 KTM, and you'd been used to riding a 450. How was that in the beginning of the season? Was it strange, or did you get a good feeling on it immediately?
Yeah, it's difficult to feel everything during the training. You need to ride with somebody else, like during the race. And I think we did a mistake with the team. And in Argentina, I say to the team, I need to ride on the 450 because it's not my style, the 350. And for sure, when I come back on the 450, maybe too late, but my feeling was much better.
And in terms of that, you switched back to the 450 then. You felt immediately more comfortable. Was it just the power, the extra power you're missing? Is that what it was?
Yeah, because my style is I need the power, and the 450 you have you have many power, so was a good feeling for my riding.
And but I don't know, watching the races, it's difficult as somebody who has to be neutral, and I guess Adam as a media, as a journalist, when we watch the start of the season, the results weren't quite there, were they? Whether it was on the 350, you looked more comfortable on the 450, but were you completely comfortable in the team as well, or was it just the problems that you had in the beginning of the season?
Yeah, it's difficult to speak about, the beginning of the season. I don't want to speak about this.
Okay. How about the move then, back to your old team? How did you feel about joining Kawasaki again. Obviously, Ryan Villapoto was gone. There was a motorcycle there. Was it quite easy, Steven, to move back in?
Yeah, sure. When I test the bike, after 10 minutes, I was already good on the bike. Yeah, I have a good feeling on this bike. I did not so bad result last year. For sure, the result of MXGP wasn't the final wasn't so good, but I did some very good race. And when I come back on the Kawasaki, my feeling was directly perfect. So
this is the second race, with the Kawasaki. I know you didn't have much time before Latvia to get the bike, the settings right. Yeah. You've had now 2 weeks before this Grand Prix. Is everything a little easier, a little better?
Yeah, but directly in Latvia my feeling was already good, but I did a mistake with Philippe Arts in the qualification race, so I was 15 on the gate for the race, so it was difficult there to be in front directly after the first corner. But I did a not so good race, not so bad race. And sure, we did some tests this week on the Kawasaki, and my feeling is, it's a little bit better now.
And 6th overall. So I guess in your mind, mentally, you made the right decision to go back to Kawasaki. And what is the situation now? You're there for the rest of the year. Do we have any news yet? What are you doing going forward in 2016?
No, for the moment, I don't know. We will see what's happened, but I need to make some good result now. I have a good bike now, and I have everything behind me, so I need to make some podium, and we will see what's happened for the 2016.
Has it given you some motivation again to get back, on a bike you like and with people you know? Or has it put you under pressure because you've only got, 5-6 GPs to show you want to get a good bike again next year?
Yeah, but sure, it's not only the bike, it's also around the rider. When I go out of the team last year, it was like everybody was, the team was like a friend.
Yeah.
So now I come back and I get back my friends. So it's nice
like
also to be. Yeah, it's like a family. So I like to work like this, and I feel positive and happy.
Yeah, because with the story at the time, in the media, Steven, was that you almost had to move way for Ryan Villapoto. That was too good an opportunity for the team to say, no, we have to stay with Steven, because Villapoto was there to take. So it was like bad luck almost, wasn't it?
Yeah, sure, it was a bad luck, but it's normal also for the team to take Villapoto. It's the best rider in the world, so yeah, I understand.
Are you a rider, because of what you've done, 3rd in MX2, 2nd in MX1 when it was MX1, do you feel you have to have a factory ride? Or are you going to be are you comfortable riding anywhere? And I just make that statement just because the team where you were at the beginning of the year wasn't a factory team, but you've gone back to Kawasaki. So do you notice those differences and you say, okay, this is where I have to be? Still, you feel this is where you have to be. You have to have a factory ride.
Yeah, sure. For me, I need to have a factory bike, and I think, I did a good result last year. So my normally this year I get a factory bike.
And what about the race here? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, the track is nice. I need to take a good start because I think it should be difficult to pass. But I'm happy to ride on this track.
But obviously the good start needs to come from qualifying, doesn't it, as well, to get the good position? Or is it not too bad? You can start anywhere here.
No, I think the gate here, it's okay for all position. It's a big way.
Big straight, yeah.
Yeah, big straight. And the corner is everybody go in the same line, so it's difficult, we'll see.
All right. Well, look, we are out of time with Steven Frossard, Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team. But before we meet our final guest, Jacky Martens, let's take a quick look at the competition this week. Don't forget, our Athena photo competition is still running. And don't forget to take a picture at the MXGP race showing the Athena or Get logo and upload that picture to the hashtag MXGP or hashtag Athena Live on MXGP Facebook page. And the most voted pick at the end of the day will win an OGO backpack and then proceed to the next step in the competition. And the top 3 during the race season will qualify to the final of the Athena photo contest. After the Motocross of Nations, the finalists will go head-to-head to win more fantastic prizes, including 2 VIP passes to an MXGP race of your choice in 2016, a GoPro prize, and an OGO prize. So good luck with that. And don't forget, we still have our mid-season sale. So MXGP TV is offering now at 50%. And that includes the FIM Monster Energy Motocross of Nations. But our final guest is here now, the team owner, the team manager for the Wilvonistan Husqvarna factory team, Jacky Martens. Welcome. We've had a 2-week break. What have you been doing this last 2 weeks?
I've been for a few days for holiday, and I had a good time. For this weekend, we can go again and hope we can do the same to get my riders, Kulas and Dean on the. Maybe Harry can do again the same nice job that he did in Latvia and been on the podium.
Well, we'll talk about that in just a moment, actually. But in terms of you and your team structure, because you're an MX2 team mostly, this year you're running, obviously you started off with Tonkov in MX2, so 1 rider there and 1 in MXGP, Dean Ferris. How difficult has that been for you logistically?
It's for me, I was expecting that it was possible. I saw, you know, it's with the MX1 rider, it's more experienced rider. I was thinking, yeah, maybe we don't need that much to work together or speak a lot. Or I was thinking, yeah, maybe they can do more by themselves. But no, it was not. We need really the attention of myself and also the mechanics. But myself, I have the. I'm the most close person to give the information to the rider, and that's why with the young riders, what we built up in the past, it worked always very well. And but now when MX1 and MX2 and MXGP after each other, I don't have enough time. It's possible, but you run from left to right, and still, when the rider arrives, we need to communicate and normal.
Yeah,
but then
debrief.
Yes, and then after a half hour, we speak again. Well, because they are so much in the riding that after 30 minutes they have to speak again, and they speak a different story, and they are more into the. And at this moment, it's possible, but you know, it's not that it should be in this.
Actually, you mentioned there about working with young riders, Jacky. You know, for 2 years you helped develop Roman Febvre, and now he's leading the Premier class in the World Championship. What's your opinion on that? I mean, I think the fact that he's been so consistent and so good is a surprise to everybody. Was it a big surprise to you? I mean, how do you feel about how he's done in the Premier class?
Yeah, it's exactly 3 years ago. I saw him here on this track, and he did very well with his techniques and with his movements. And after this GP, we start speaking, and I get him in my team. And yeah, we worked a lot together, and yeah, he did everything as we had a good communication. And yeah, now you see how far he is, and I'm very. For me, it's like a very good feeling what he's doing now. Well, we helped him a lot, and also with the learning how to acting, how to set up the bikes and everything. We did a very quick 2 years. Well, normally it's not possible, but he's so professional that he's into his job. And you know, when he was winning the first GP, for me it was really like, wow, that is it. That is the.
Were you one of the first people to congratulate him?
Yeah, but I cannot stop. Well, I want to go to him, and you know, and yeah, it's some extra feeling you get, what you cannot tell. You know, it's and I still have that feeling with all my riders. I have the same feeling with Jeffrey, with Paul Jonas, with Tixier. With all of them, you know, it's you start from they come with the bag, and they ends almost like a champion.
Yeah.
And that is nice to.
Because I mean, you're an important part of that story, aren't you? Because Roman moved to where you're based near Lommel, and I think it's I don't know, it's an important.
Well, you just mentioned a load of names there, didn't he?
Yeah.
Obviously Jeffrey from the European Championship, and then he went on to Red Bull, and then
Jonas,
and Jonas and Tixier, and obviously Roman. So, but let's talk about this season. Let's talk about Dean Ferris to start with. Again, I guess it was a difficult start for him, wasn't it? Because he was coming off the back of the injury in Trindade in Brazil last year with the femur. But have you been happy with the way things have gone with him this year?
Normally, Dean should be a much better position. But when we start working with somebody, we take all out of them. They get motivation, no stress. They fight for what they want. And with Dean, he works so hard, and I'm proud on him, because after so many injuries, he was fighting, working, fitness to all all what we have, like doctors, kines, mental coaches. He do everything, but he was so motivated. He did too much. And then and on the leg where the pin was sitting, there was some calc coming. He got some injections. Then he was practicing so much on his muscle to make his leg stronger. He get overreacting of the muscles. He worked so hard, but it's a very heavy injury. But I still believe in Dean. But when you are behind and to catch it back, it's not easy.
We were just looking at images there from France. That was his first solid performance, wasn't it? 4th overall with 2 fifth-place finishes, but or 2 fourths for 5th overall. He's looked a little bit more consistent since then, finishing motos inside the top 10. So, what's been the difference since France? Is it because he can now train properly?
Yes, that is. Just want to tell you, it's in France he had a day without pain. And then he did it, and I was proud on him. Well, he did. I know he can do it, but still, if you see a rider on 15th position in time practice and he has pain, and when you have pain, you start thinking, you lose the speed. You can't get your rhythm. You don't find the line what you want. It's just, it's not working. And then in France on Saturday he was coming back. He said, I don't have so much pain. We've been to the doctor and did some therapy. And in France he was there on Sunday. Was really, whoa, he's there. And then the week after it went not so good, I think. And then in the other race he was again there without pain. But now he's still struggling, pain, no pain, no pain. But there is no time to rest.
No.
And that is you see how many riders are injured. You have no time to rest, and you keep going. And then, for example, before France, he was 2 weeks not on the bike. He was just waiting. The doctor said, Tom Klaas said, it's no possible to ride. You have to rest. And we rest. And in France, he was there. Rest, no rest, practice. It's very difficult and mental for a rider. It's hard.
And what about Alexander Tonkov? Obviously, he was challenging he was tied, he was just like 1 point behind, or he was challenging for 2nd and 3rd, after Germany. But he got his first race win, didn't he? This year in Maggiora, in the mud of Maggiora.
Especially with the new bike.
And with the new bike as well, which he had since Trentino.
He's, for me, Alexander did also a really good job, because, he was working also very hard. He felt good. He was doing his best, and the last race he was just 3 points behind the 2nd place, what he never had in the past. I think we did a very good job altogether to bring him again to the top 3. And it's a shame that, and also for Alexander it was hard, because which GP was it again?
Germany when he crashed.
No, the one before it was like in Qatar. His shoulder popped out, also almost out, not complete, but he had a lot of pain. And then he just fight back. We spoke into him and said, hey, now you have to do it. Now you get champion in the bad in the not perfect situations. And then he had pain also a lot, and the doctor said, yeah, if he can handle it, he can ride the season. But still, from then on, he was a little injured.
And was the shoulder injury that he picked up in Germany, was that the same one from Qatar?
Yes. And then this popped out, but that was with the fence, the steel fence. He hit it, and it was a
big crash.
It was a shame how he felt on that moment really good. And it's racing.
Because, like I say, he was 3 points off second and third. He were tied on points at that time. So he could have been looking at something completely different. Of course, with Jeffrey being injured as well, and the inconsistency of the riders in MX2. Has that surprised you a little bit?
I think it's just we know motocross is a hard sport. When everything goes well, it's perfect, and even when everything goes well. One moment it happens. You see Jeffrey in the beginning of the everybody say, he's gonna win easy, but for him it ends also in a small injury, and then he come back, and then it's Sweden again with this.
Same with Ferrandis and some other guys.
Same. And but I think it's all situations together, and it happens.
And obviously no Tonkov, but you found yourself quite a handy little replacement for Latvia 2 weeks ago, Harry Kulas. You must have been more than impressed, more than happy with his performance in Kergums.
He was, we start like on Monday. We decide, okay, we go together. We start making the testing the first time on Monday. Tuesday on another track, and I work a lot with teaching what you have to do with his body and with the handling and with the foot and with the position of the bike, and it went very well during the week. Only Saturday he was nervous, and it was really like time practice was 20, but I know he can do well. On Tuesday he was there. He had good speed, and time practice he was like, I think 19, in the qualification heat he was 14, and then we worked a lot and speaking a lot during the Saturday, Sunday, and Sunday morning we make another little bit adjusting, and then he was there. I say, now we have the possibility. Afterwards, for sure, it's always easy to speak. But and for sure when he gets after first heat on 5th place, it's already very, very good. And then when you rise on the podium, that's fantastic. It's.
What does the future hold, Jacky? Are you going to be back to MX2 team? Are you going to have to mix up again? Have you made a decision yet?
Yeah, I go back to the MX2 team, and I have a really good feeling for the next season. And the announcement is going to become, I think, around Lommel. And but for me, 2 riders, only MX2, that we have the full concentration on my guys, and then the team can do a good job as we did in the past.
Before we go, though, Jantel Martens, your son, was leading the 300, or still is leading the 300, but not here. Picked up a scaphoid injury in Sweden. Not racing here. Is he going to be in Lommel as well, or not?
No, we've been to. Normally, there was a new technique to make the surgery, and when this was okay, and we've been in Tonkelaars in Herentals, and he did the technique, but the bone was too much moved, and they have to make an open operation, surgery, and it was. Now it takes like 8 weeks. Dus after Lommel was no possible, here was no possible. It's a shame. Well, this year he did very well. He was, for myself, I sent him 2 years out of my team in another team.
Tough love.
Tough love. But for sure, for myself, it was also hard to make this step. But afterwards, this year, he came back and he was really he's really professional, and he did a good job. He was almost winning every heat, and next year we're going to see, but probably go back on the 300 class. There's more interest coming from everybody, and I think that class deserves it.
Well, we are out of time, but Jacky, Martens, Will van der Staan, Husqvarna Factory Racing, thanks for joining us. Thanks to all our other guests as well. Seil Brylyakov from Honda J-Tech and Steven Frossard, Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team. As always, Adam Wheeler, ontrackoffroad.com. But round 13 is just around the corner. Will there be more drama in MX2? Will Herlings be able to pull clear, or will the others gain ground on him? And what's going to happen in MXGP this weekend? Find out on MXGP TV tomorrow, live, as always. See you then. Bye.